I knew Will prior to him with Jada, and once he got with Jada, he smelled like a skunk, right? And she manipulate, and I've seen the manipulation. I've seen the things that she's done, and I've seen how he followed her. Because, like I said, this is not about civil. This is about criminal. Jada is diabolical. Like I said before, I do believe that she's done things with it. I do believe, and I know for a fact that she's done inappropriate things with Will and Jada Smith. With Willow and Jaden's friends.
When you were dating J-Lo, Will Smith and Jada tried to pick her up on and you were going to beat up Will Smith. Is that true?
Thought she was wilding out when she said Tupac proposed to her in jail, which may have been true, but the next day here she talking about Tupac had alopecia as well. Of course, Charlamagne is happy with his news, but 50 Cent said we had to draw the line right here after Jada Pinkett Smith revealed she sold a lot of crack as a teenager. 50 says, all right, enough is enough. Free Will Smith. What the F is going on? Even Chris Rock is pissed off and saying, keep my name out your damn mouth. He had a source reach out to Daily Mail to tell him that he's frustrated with her continuing to bring up the situation that he's trying to move past, especially bringing up that he once asked her out on a date.
I normally would not talk about this, but for some reason, these put that shit on the internet. That we all been cheated on. Everybody in here have been cheated on. None of us have ever been interviewed by the person that cheated on us on television.
For years, she's been called messy. But when you connect the public moments and long-running chatter, the picture around Jada Pinkett Smith looks more strategic than emotional. Questions have followed her about reshaping her story, moving within the same powerful circles, and always staying a step ahead of the narrative. The real issue isn't her presence on Red Table Talk. It's whether she quietly influenced stories and relationships while Will Smith's clean image acted as protection. As different voices begin hinting at the same pattern, it raises a simple question. Was she just navigating a tough industry or actively guiding the direction behind the scenes? Those close to the situation don't describe confusion. They describe focus, control, and someone who knew exactly which doors mattered and how to stay in command even when the spotlight faded.
I knew Will prior to him with Jada, and once he got with Jada, he smelled like a skunk, right? And she manipulated, and I've seen the manipulation. I've seen the things that she's done, and I've seen how he followed her. Because, like I said, this is not about civil. This is about criminal. Tony Busby wanted to represent him.
Really?
Right? But that was it was with Will. It was with Jada, and it's with Diddy. See, what a lot of people don't understand, Will and Diddy relationship is tight, and there's some criminality within that I saw. Oh, that's in the book too, right? So much to the fact that Will took to a show in San Diego, got up on stage talking about, hey, I ain't cool with Diddy. I don't mess with him. No, Will, you do mess with him, and y'all done things that I believe to be criminal, especially if you look at Bashir Gray, so don't play no games. All this stuff, all these people that's covering it, Megyn Kelly, you didn't even know Mario from XX Hollywood. Now I'm getting all these big media giants covering my story, right? About the lawsuit and the allegations and all kind of stuff. You know why? Because I got factual proof. I'm going to jail if I've told this many lies with this much paperwork. This much paperwork. If I'm telling lies, I'm going to jail. So this is not no hoax. This is going to be bigger than the Diddy scandal. Jada is diabolical. Like I said before, I do believe that she's done things with it. I do believe, and I know for a fact that she's done inappropriate things with Will and Jada Smith. With Willow and Jaden's friend.
What makes these claims unsettling isn't the accusations themselves, but the pattern they suggest. While the public stayed focused on isolated headlines, the narrative points to a wider system of influence, powerful connections, blurred boundaries, and an understanding that proximity to elite figures often comes with leverage, not just visibility. In this version, Jada doesn't appear as someone caught off guard by chaos, but as someone who understood how influence works and applied it within her own circles, including creative spaces and family dynamics. That's why the story resonates. If even part of this framing holds weight, it shifts her image from participant to strategist. Add to that her control of a public platform, where personal moments can be reframed in real time, and what once felt like open conversation starts to look more like narrative management, revealing just enough to maintain trust while quietly shaping how the full story is remembered.
The Red Table Talk in July 2020 when Jada got all entangled with August.
I mean, because this is your red table and you brought yourself to the red table. I think you need to say clearly what happened.
As far as what?
You and I.
The false narrative that I helped to create on the red table. Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes.
So poor Will because of
the adulterous wife.
Yeah.
Who forced him to go to the table and sit there.
Jada, come on, you didn't force him there to be there in that moment, but you forced him into this conversation. And what's going to happen is that if you were sitting there by yourself and you said, you guys are separated at the time, the next question is Will going to verify that story? So then Will would have to make a statement, do his own video. So he's basically just being more efficient with his time by just sitting there instead of doing it 2 hours after you posted this video. So yeah, you kind of did force him to be there, Jada. He has to verify his story. So if you didn't verify it then, you'd have to verify it later, and you'd have to spend more time in this. So yeah, you forced him. But anyways, yeah, she does not like the poor Will narrative that's out there, and apparently, I guess these interviews are supposed to put her in a good light and put Will in a bad light.
And she doesn't stop with the living. With Tupac, every new interview seems to add a layer only she can confirm. Suddenly, he shares her struggles. Suddenly, his proposals shift timelines. Suddenly, she's the one entrusted with Suge Knight's ashes. These aren't small details. They're calculated moves that shape perception, casting her as the overlooked partner of a legend and the misunderstood spouse of a troubled man, even when the public record and those who were there tell a different story.
Jada Pinkett Smith reveals Tupac proposed to her while he was doing time on Rikers Island. She's set to release her tell-all memoir. She spoke during an interview and called the late rap icon her one true soulmate, despite 19 years of marriage to Will Smith. Jada's reason for never getting romantically involved with Pac is simple, at least to her. She claims they didn't have any chemistry.
Hey, can we play the clip? Yeah, I want to hear it.
There's times where he's referred to as his soulmate, and I would assume that you felt the same way. Do you feel that you can have a friendship that is like a soulmate friendship that doesn't necessarily include the romantic version?
Absolutely. We have soulmates. Our children can be our soulmates. I think this kind of romanticized idea of a soulmate, there's all kinds of definitions of soulmate.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I don't think if there is such a thing as past lives, I definitely think Pac and I have traveled a few together, in various forms. So,
has there ever been a time that you regretted the decision that you made not to take it to that level with him and to keep it in the friendship space?
It just wasn't possible. There was no chemistry between us. I
think that.
Talk about it in the book.
That's so hard. I know, but it's just so hard to imagine. At the time, he was in he was in a space where, he was in jail and all that, but it's just hard to believe that we see chemistry with the two of you guys. Even in the videos you guys dance, and there seems to be so much chemistry, but from your perspective.
Chemistry, it's that friendship, love chemistry. Trust me. Let me tell you, don't think that Pac and I, like I write in the book, we had those moments, and I wish I could get people to understand the repelling nature. It was almost like God made us that way. It was like, look, I'm gonna put y'all together, all right? Y'all gonna be a dynamic duo. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna make it so. Y'all not gonna be able to get together because that just wasn't the purpose. And I know it's so hard, but we had and it wasn't just me. Talk about it.
Yo, do you see how easy women lie?
Smack them cheeks.
How are you going to say that you're soulmates with somebody that you also have no chemistry?
By the time Bilaal and others start speaking, it's no longer about a single lawsuit. It's two completely different Jadas. One at the table, seeming vulnerable and wronged, and one behind the scenes, watching powerful men, learning their moves, and subtly rewriting memories so she never appears at fault. The internet's chatter fades against voices from the era, comedians and insiders who aren't writing think pieces but sharing the raw, unfiltered truth they've seen backstage. Now, those who truly knew Tupac's world and watched Will's rise firsthand are openly saying they don't buy the story she's been selling.
Went too far about calling Jada.
I agree. You know, she put them in harm's way. She's not a woman. You got to call her what it is, you know? And I'm tired of her always talking about Tupac would have did. Tupac wouldn't have with her. Tupac wouldn't have with her. I'm tired of that story. It would have never went down. Oh, Tupac. Bitch, I know Tupac. Tupac wouldn't have been with you. You know, and I'm just tired of this mindset some women have. They think that whether it happened 20, 30 years ago, it's still going to with you. It would have been. Tupac was a boss. He was very intelligent. They cut off Madonna, dog. That's how cold Tupac was. Madonna. You got to be a cold to break off with Madonna. I'm sorry.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Tupac, he had a fiance before he died, right? Kadada Jones, Quincy Jones' daughter.
Exactly. Right. Sure was. Yeah, they wasn't rocking like that. They wasn't like that. But in today's world, the people can lie so much, and once you get out there, poof, it could take off.
TK doesn't show up with blogs or fan edits. He brings context. When he says Tupac wasn't involved with her the way she suggests, and points out he moved in circles with women like Madonna, he tears the fantasy right out from under Jada's narrative. And it lines up perfectly with what 50 and Chris are doing. One mocking Free Will Smith, the other clearly fed up with her dragging Tupac into every story about her own decisions.
Here's the thing about what you just said. A man got this, I don't think it's none of that. And if she is playing them kind of games, she's one of the weakest females on the planet. And if Will even falls for that type of BS, something really wrong with him. Like, for us to even be still discussing the Tupac Jada is really beneath us, is because my game to you is, we don't give a fam. Like, Jada, if Jada used to with Tupac, nobody cares. What's important, what's happened today. We discussed their relationship, and we want Will to divorce this so he can have a better life, and we want Jada to go on about her business, that everybody can be happy, because I think they pretend to be happy. There's no way you can be happy going through all the stuff that woman's taking.
By the time TK bluntly says Will needs to step away to save himself, it shows just how much respect has eroded behind the scenes. These aren't internet trolls. They're men who usually defend Black women publicly. Even they are signaling that whatever Jada learned in Diddy's world, and whatever she's done with Tupac's legacy and Will's image, has crossed from messy marriage into emotional and reputational harm. If it were only about intimacy or cheating, the story would have ended at Red Table Talk. What keeps pulling her back into the conversation is the ecosystem she creates, people and dynamics that mirror Diddy's world on a smaller scale. Every layer reveals another lesson in manipulation, another coded justification for behavior that impacts those closest to her.
And just really quick, a guy named Fernando was my assistant out there. He would drive me around, help me out, do whatever I needed to do. And when we pulled up in front of my apartment one day, there was a policeman out there. Then there was one guy who I know to be a private investigator. And then there were two other people with black pants and white tops. Now, these are Scientology outfits, and I'm not saying they're Scientology. So they go away after a while. The next day, me and Fernando are driving down the road, and a car tries to run us over the embankment, and they were successfully able to run us over the embankment. And I've suffered some major injuries. Yeah, major injuries.
And you assume that has to do with someone related to Jada?
Oh, Jada and the Church of Scientology, without question. This is real because I know for a fact that Danny Masterson and Will and Jada was at Will and Jada house. So this was going on while now. For those who don't know, Danny Masterson was a Scientologist and is now in jail for 30 years to life or something. For
Careful, yeah.
People within Scientology. So what I'm saying is it possible Will and Jada?
It also brings up the same couple who quietly operated a private school in Calabasas that former staff later described as heavily influenced by Scientology methods, even while Jada publicly denied any affiliation. It's the same social circle that stayed close to Danny Masterson for years, before the public learned he had long been shielded by institutional protection amid serious allegations. So when Bilaal talks about disturbing incidents, unusual pressure, and behaviors he says felt familiar from those environments, it doesn't come across as random. It reinforces a pattern, one where Jada repeatedly gravitates toward systems built on loyalty, silence, and control, even when the personal cost to others is quietly ignored.
The Daily Mail, after filing papers, said he is seeking justice for the atrocities committed against him by Will and Jada. Atrocities, I tell you. He clarified that while the 3 counts target Jada, he plans to file against Will as well. He alleges her alleged actions, which include her and her emissaries, included trying to bribe, intimidate, and suppress him. He says he suffered damages, the complete derailment of his personal life and career. He's suing Jada for intentional infliction because she denied to TMZ that she had ever seen her husband engage in or intimate behavior with men. Now we're getting to it. He alleges that Jada confronted him in the lobby of the Regency Calabasas Commons on September 25th, 2021, while he was at a private birthday celebration for Will Smith. He alleges Pinkett Smith, Jada, was accompanied by approximately 7 members of her entourage during the confrontation. He claims that she became verbally aggressive and threatened him by stating that if he continued telling her personal business, that's a quote, he claims, that he would end up missing or catch a bullet. He also alleges that she demanded he sign a non-disclosure agreement or else. After the alleged incident, Pinkett Smith's team followed him to his car, he claims, while continuing to issue verbal threats. 6 months later, he claims there was another incident where he refused a request from a mutual friend to assist with crisis management. He thought the tasks he was asked to do were illegal, and then he started getting threatened by them, he said. And it turns out he was all this while writing a, quote, whistleblower memoir. My note reads, oh, Lord. Alleging that he faced further threats after that was discovered. He was supposed to get $500,000 for it, and now those hopes have been destroyed as a result of the...
When this shifts into the legal arena, the focus isn't the dollar amount of the claim, but the consistency of what's being described. Even skeptical outlets note the same themes repeating. Pressure when someone speaks out, promises of future rewards if they help manage yet another crisis, and a mindset where aggressive language is treated as a tool for enforcing silence. Placed alongside widely discussed allegations about powerful figures using contracts and controlled access, the idea of Jada as merely a passive bystander starts to feel incomplete. It becomes a broader question of whether she built her own smaller system of influence under the language of healing and unconventional love. By this point, no one is surprised that she and Will shared the same social spaces as Diddy. That history is well documented. Yeah, what gives people pause is the suggestion that she didn't just endure those environments, but learned from them. Because once conversations shift from personal drama to organized control, it stops looking like a messy relationship and starts looking like a carefully maintained structure.
Jada had hard drives that contained hacks on them.
Like Diddy? Like Diddy tapes?
Yeah, it's like that. It's exactly like that, right?
Was she bringing in other people, filming the other people and all that stuff?
Absolutely. And
so wait, you're saying Jada's the next Diddy?
Now, I'm only saying these things so if they come out, people know I know what I'm talking about. When it becomes criminal is when you coerce people, when you give them money, when there's drugs there. There's always alcohol
And you
there.
saw
There's
that.
always
You saw that in the tapes.
Yes, there's always Tushi there. There's always ayahuasca, and there's always shrooms, psychedelics there. Right? This is a part of Will and Jada's life, drugs and drinking. Right? Forget what you see in public. And when these people on the tape, Alfonso Ribeira's on there, Tyrese is on there, right? There are a bunch of people that's on, and I am saying this, right? I'm saying this, and I'm in open court. I dare y'all to play with me because y'all know what y'all did. Jada, you know what you did to another one of Jaden's friends. That boy is messed up for life.
If you understand how Diddy's world is set to operate, you see why this unsettles people. Allegations aren't just about wild parties. They're about what was recorded, moments of vulnerability quietly stored, ready to be pulled out if anyone stepped out of line. The concern isn't Jada as a bystander, it's the idea she might be the one building the archive, giving her influence over young artists, background actors, even her children's friends, the ones who see the Smith name as untouchable. In that context, Will's public words about freedom and trust in marriage start to feel like a polished label over something far darker. A system of control where legacies are rewritten, reputations exposed, and mistakes quietly archived. For years, her power move was simple, emote enough, and people stopped questioning the timeline. But when private pain, say past entanglements, and off-camera influence keep surfacing, even voices like Chris Rock's are forced to ask the question everyone has been thinking. Why do so many stories about the men around her somehow end up orbiting her own narrative?
She was wilding out when she said Tupac proposed to her in jail, which may have been true, but the next day here she talking about Tupac had alopecia as well. Of course, Charlamagne is happy with his news, but 50 Cent said we had to draw the line right here after Jada Pinkett Smith revealed she sold a lot of crack as a teenager. 50 says, alright, enough is enough. Free Will Smith, what the F is going on? Even Chris Rock is pissed off and saying, keep my name out your damn mouth. He had a source reach out to Daily Mail to tell him that he's frustrated with her continuing to bring up the situation that he's trying to move past, especially bringing up that he once asked her out on a date.
When the backlash comes, Jada does what she always does. She spins a new story. Suddenly, the 28-year marriage she once framed as doomed is now a tale of two people quietly living separate lives since 2016. It fits her brand, turning years of betrayals, side relationships, and public scrutiny into a spiritual journey rather than the reality everyone witnessed. One woman experimenting with power, media, and myth, while her husband absorbed the fallout in real time.
I feel like you're a straight talker.
I am.
Except you're not sometimes.
Yeah.
So why do that? Like, what was the reason?
I think just not being ready yet. Still trying to figure out between the two of us how to be in partnership, right? And in regards to how do we present that to people, you know? And we hadn't figured that out.
During our walk in Baltimore, Jada reflected on their breakup. Why did the relationship fracture?
Oh, why it fractured? That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be.
Jada says she considered a legal divorce, but could never go through with it.
I made a promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce. We will work through whatever. And I just haven't been able to break that promise.
But you still live separately.
We live separately.
Even harder is that Will has been framing the chaos like it's philosophy, talking about marriage not being a prison, giving each other freedom, and focusing on self-growth over the relationship. On paper, it sounds enlightened. But put that next to Bilal's lawsuit, the Diddy party rumors, the hard drive claims, and Jada constantly reshaping Tupac's story to center herself, and it starts to feel like freedom in this marriage mostly meant one person getting free reign to turn everyone else's lives into her own material.
I turned down money from them. I turned down $500,000 that was offered from Will and Jada. It's in the paperwork where a guy by the name of Charlie Mack was threatening me I told him not to call me. What happens is he goes through my best friend, sends me a retraction letter stating that I should say all this and that they would pay me. And I didn't take them.
The Daily Mail, after filing papers, said he is seeking justice for the atrocities committed against him by Will and Jada. Atrocities, I tell you. He clarified that while the 3 counts target Jada, he plans to file against Will as well. He alleges her alleged actions, which include her and her emissaries, included trying to bribe, intimidate, and suppress him. He says he suffered damages, the complete derailment of his personal life and career. He's suing Jada for intentional infliction because she denied to TMZ that she had ever seen her husband engage in or intimate behavior with men. Now we're getting to it. He alleges that Jada confronted him in the lobby of the Regency Calabasas Commons on September 25th, 2021, while he was at a private birthday celebration for Will Smith. He alleges Pinkett Smith, Jada, was accompanied by approximately 7 members of her entourage during the confrontation. He claims that she became verbally aggressive and threatened him by stating that if he continued telling her personal business, that's a quote, he claims, that he would end up missing or catch a bullet. He also alleges that she demanded he sign a non-disclosure agreement or else.
When Bilaal says on camera that he was allegedly offered serious money to sign a retraction and walk away, and that he refused, it highlights the stakes of the game he believes he's in. In a world where tapes and hush money erase problems, the fact that someone from Jada and Will's circle didn't take the payoff only raises the question, what's really on those drives? And why would people who supposedly learned from Diddy go to such lengths to keep it hidden? Maybe 50 Cent knows, biding his time to hit where it hurts, just like he did before.